Hi guys, welcome back, and if you're new here, I'm Nessie. Today I'm showing you how I built a kitchen island for my gnomes. I started off making a paper template, and I cannot emphasize enough how helpful it was to visualize what the island would look like in the kitchen. I briefly lost my mind and decided not only to make working drawers but also a couple of pull-out storage bins like I have in my own 100-year-old kitchen. I used the template to do the dreaded math, working out all the pieces I thought I'd need to build the island. I also planned to use up some of the scraps left over from the kitchen bench. Then I realised I forgot some important pieces too. So here's the template, and I divided it into side A with the pull-out bins and side B with the drawers. To try and keep my confusion to a minimum, I kept the pieces from each side in separate bags so nothing would get lost. Let's start with side B. Again, like the kitchen bench, I'm using thick cardstock made from gluing 4 layers of cardstock together. Mat board will do the same job. I'm making the 3 drawers first, and I decided to give the drawer fronts a beveled edge by sanding them. To stick all the pieces together, I'm using tacky glue and tiny dots of super glue on the ends and corners just to get it to hold together faster. It was a bit of a mission at times getting the pieces to stick to each other and not to my cutting mat, but I persisted. I also had to keep checking the drawers were still going to fit through the holes in the front panel. Don't forget, a full list of all the materials used in this video is in the description below. And while you're at it, check out the link to my Nessie Monster merch, where you can buy the cute designs I've created on stickers, t-shirts, mugs, phone cases and more. I made drawer runners to go on each side of the drawers to help guide them in place. They're not pretty, but you won't even see them when it's done. The 2 middle panels have a runner guide on each side, and the outside panels have a runner guide on just one side. The middle panels are also double thickness of the thick cardstock I'm using. I should have done that with this outside panels too, but I didn't, and the world didn't end, so I think we'll all survive. Don't forget to keep checking everything fits right. Okay, so now I'm gluing on the front panel using tacky glue and super glue combo. And right about now I realised I'd stuffed up by cutting the side panels too short, but it ended up being a happy little accident, as Bob Ross would say, and later on actually solves a problem I've been worried about. Good thing I'm too lazy to cut new pieces, huh? Now glue in the dividing panels and make sure you remember to glue everywhere you need to. I didn't trust myself enough to glue on the drawer front straight if I did them individually, so I MacGyvered up a brace to not only hold the whole thing in place but elevate the drawer slightly so I could see for sure that the fronts were lined up. Good old Kiwi ingenuity using cardboard scraps and masking tape. It was surprisingly sturdy and did the job perfectly. Make sure you remove the random dog hair from your glue. Thanks for that, boy. Having the drawers sticking up like this will help me to avoid accidentally gluing them all in place. You can't really see it here, but my hands were shaking like crazy during this bit. I was so worried I'd end up sticking something all wonky. You better believe there was a huge sigh of relief after this bit. You'll have to excuse moaning Myrtle clucking in the background. She likes everyone to know when she's laid an egg. But anyway, right now I'm gluing the drawer part to the central dividing panel of the island. I want to make a rack underneath the drawers to store all the large cooking pots, so I'm using 2 staircase spindles, some thin coffee stir sticks, one slightly thicker coffee stir stick that I accidentally bought, and some matchsticks. They all needed trimming in some way, so I made a start on that. Then I stained them with a wash of burnt sienna paint and water like I did for the kitchen bench and left them all to dry. I also realised the spindles were still too long, so I trimmed the other ends. Before I make a start on side A, you might notice the random black cardstock among the white. Well, that's because I cut the small shelf far too short. I had to cut a new piece from some other scrap card out of the trash that was the same thickness. I glued the new shelf in place between its two side panels. Check it lines up and fits okay on the bottom panel. And glue it into place. It's good to get the easy bit out of the way and build up a false sense of confidence before the geometry and trigonometry coming up. Let us pray now for the brain cells that died in this next stage. I created the pull-out bins with 2 rectangular panels for the front and back, 2 triangle wedges for the sides, and a large flat washer to counterweight the back of the bin and fabric hinges. As you can see, I'm gluing the side wedges on an angle. I have 2 reasons for this. First, it will take less stuff to fill them, and secondly, it will leave a gap next to the bins for any brackets they might need to stop them moving back and forth too far. At this point, I was already suspicious my math was out and I'll need to do a few adjustments to the height of the bins later, but I soldiered on anyway. I add the counterweight to the back of the bins because they were so lightweight on their own they wouldn't move and stay in position like the real ones do. Just don't tell Mr. Nessie I raided his shed again. Whoops, that washer fell off. I have to glue it back on. Now to glue on one side of the fabric hinge. I'm sanding the top of the bins to fine tune the height of them. This took me ages to get right, but I really needed them to be just the right height or they won't be able to open and close properly once the bench top is put on. After 84 years of sanding and dry fitting, I'm gluing the first bin into place. It's really important to make sure that the fabric hinge is glued down firmly, and if, like me, you can't get your fat finger in there, grab some random tool to help press it into place. You might also be able to see the diagonal pencil lines I've drawn on the dividing panels. This is where I'm going to glue down little brackets to stop the bins from falling all the way back. Let's get that centre dividing panel glued in so I can then glue in the other bin and the end panel. Now the glue's set, I can glue side A to side B. I made sure there was enough glue on this so future archaeologists would still find it intact. Back to the woody bits, give them a coat of varnish. It not only gives them a nice glossy look, but it enhances the colour too. The glue's dried on the island, so now I'm using spackle to cover the joins so they're not so obvious. When that's dry, give it a sand to smooth it out. I use different grades of sandpaper to do it badly, and don't forget to protect your lungs and wear a mask. You don't want to be breathing the dust in. After you've dusted off the island, give it a coat all over with wood glue to seal it and add more strength. Once it's dry, you can start painting. For the drawer handles, I used tiny acorn nubbins like I did with the kitchen cabinets, and for the pull-out bins I'm cutting a slightly larger acorn cap in half to make the handles. I'll sand them all a little to create a flat edge to glue onto the cabinet, and they're all going to get a coat of varnish. Yeah, not the greatest move there, Nessie. Much better idea. See how the halves make a nice handle shape? So I gave them a varnish off camera and moved on to gluing the legs on. Remember those misaligned joins at the front of the drawer panel? Those corner notches are actually going to make it much easier for me to glue the round legs in place. Make sure the tops of the legs are lined up with the top of the drawers, or the bench top won't fit on it properly. Let's create the rack, starting with the fat coffee stir stick crossbar between the legs. Now measuring and cutting the side brace matchsticks before gluing them into place. Trim the coffee stir sticks with scissors and glue them to the matchstick braces at each end. I used some of the offcuts as spacers to get nice even gaps between them. It was really awkward trying not to get glue in all the wrong places. I love the look of it, but I'm going to add another matchstick brace underneath to hopefully prevent any warping. Now I'm gluing on some painted beads for feet on the other side. I glued on the drawer handles. And the handles for the bins. I cut a piece of 5mm thick balsa wood for the bench top. I briefly thought about peeling the sticker off before realising it wasn't necessary, and instead decided to ever so slightly sand all the sharp edges to round them off a little. It's hardly noticeable, but I know it's there, and I wish I'd done it on the main kitchen benches too. I gave it a wash of burnt sienna like I did for the rest of the woodwork, and remember to do the underside of the edges too, or they'll stick out like dog's balls, and varnish it as well. The handles of the pull-out bins got a good dolloping of wood glue inside them as added security. I used wood glue to glue the bench top to the island. Be careful gluing around any working parts, you don't want to stick them shut. And leave it with an old textbook to weigh it down while it dries. So here we have it so far. I'm not showing the gnomes yet because in the next video I plan to make a whole bunch of adorable accessories for it. Don't tell the gnomes, it's our little secret. Shh. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new uploads, and leave a comment because I'd love to hear from you. It really helps my channel to grow. If you want to share your own crafty ideas and projects, join my Facebook page called Nessie Monster Crafts. And we have Fun Day Fridays where we can all show off our latest works in progress. If you can afford it, please consider buying me a coffee. Links for both my Facebook group and coffee account are in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!